So yesterday, Blake Li so Blake Lively cannot the theme of the world is that Blake Lively can't handle things that are said bad about her. And the truth is, if you don't have thick skin, you're screwed. And Blake Lively's screwed because clearly her skin is not thick. And her mom always called her and said, life is like a bowl of cherries. But unfortunately, her mom never told her life is like a bowl of sometimes shitty cherries. And like, not all cherries are going to be sweet. And I don't understand because cherries, sometimes they're not so good. And sometimes they taste bad. But her mom didn't prepare her for that because everything I've ever heard about Willie McLean, Elaine McAlpin, Elaine Lively, whatever the hell her 17 names are, is that this is a woman who taught her daughter to never hear the word no. And as a mother, I'm going to tell you guys one thing that I've always tried really hard to instill in my kids. And I'm not perfect. I've definitely not been perfect at this. And I think I've done better with my second kid than my first. Is I've always tried to teach my kids that you cannot get everything that you want. And you will sometimes go to bed upset with me. And many times you will be very angry with me, and I'm not your best friend. And you will be upset with me sometimes, and you will also not really like sometimes what your friends do to you, and you will not like what your teachers do to you. And if you don't get good grades, and if you don't act well at play dates, and if you don't act nice at baseball practice or at your theater class or whatever the hell you're doing, like things will be taken away from you because you don't get to act like a dick or sorry, but like a bitch or a dick or a prick or whatever and get what whatever you want. But I don't think that Blake Lively got that lesson growing up. And I'm saying this like truly, I don't think that she ever got that lesson. So she's screwed because from here on out, she will always go after the person that she sees as being mean to her, as being unfair to her. So first it was, and I'm saying just since it ends with us, it started with Justin. But it's before that, right? On Gossip Girl, it was the makeup artist. It was the extras. It was the PAs. We've heard now so many stories of this. But even before that, right? From all my agent friends that have worked with her, that have worked with her, had clients that worked with her, it was them. It was actors that have worked with her before. It was the different people on the crew that have worked with her before. It was people that have worked with her in her business before. And then on It Ends With Us, of course, it was the ADs that she didn't like. Then it was Justin that she didn't like. And obviously Jamie that she didn't like. And then, of course, over on this process now it's Brian Friedman that she didn't like. Because if you're not nice to Blake, if you don't give her exactly what you want, you're out. Which is why these attorneys, I'm convinced, are literally doing every single thing that she's asking for, even if it's making them look absolutely insane, because they won't do anything to potentially ruin the ability to pay for their kids, Ivy League education, which she's bankrolling. If they say no to her, if they say, this doesn't seem like the right move, they're out. She's only surrounded by yes people because if you say no to her, you're out. That's the truth. And I'm 100%, I'm almost 100% certain that this is a personality disorder where you cannot say no to someone like her unless you want to be deemed like not part of her life anymore. And if you're on her payroll, you're effed. So this is why we're seeing this kind of behavior. Yesterday, we talked about how, not actually Golden, the attorney was saying, even if she doesn't eventually win this trial, even if we don't find a smear campaign, proof of a smear campaign, there will still be an excuse for why there's no evidence of a smear campaign. It's still someone else's fault. It's never going to be my bad. It's never going to be I did something wrong. It's never going to be I was wrong. It's never going to be I overreacted. I saw something, or maybe I misinterpreted that behavior. It's never going to be like, oh, I guess Jamie Heath didn't mean to show me something that was not porn, and I maybe took it that way. It's never, no, like, we're never going to get what we want from her. We may get a judge's ruling or a jury ruling that we want. We may get the official, like, judicial ruling that we want, but we'll never get her apologizing and taking accountability, no matter where it goes. So the deposition happens on Thursday, and immediately she freaks. She crashes out. She loses her mind because the statements go on, or the transcript, the unofficial, unedited, perfected court transcript goes on the docket, sealed or not sealed or just redacted. We can't see it. No one can see it, but it's there. And they freak out and they lose their mind. And because of that, they panic. And then, of course, I said yesterday that, was it yesterday? I can't remember even, that Gottlieb then decides we have to go after Brian Friedman. We have to try to, give him sanctions or ask for sanctions, because sanctions basically is like get him in trouble and financial and all of the things, because what he's doing is not okay. It is not okay. It's not legal. It's not okay how he's treating our client. And here's the reasons for it. Now, there's a ton of documents that explain this, but it is about 5,000 things hit the docket yesterday, and I am not the person that goes through every single legal filing. So, like, I'm not going to be able to do that for you, and frankly, I don't want to do it. But one of the most insane things was in the downloads that I did look at yesterday. It's an 80-page document that basically goes through, I think it's 80 pages, that basically goes through the entire statements, every single transcript and statement that Brian Friedman has made on every single podcast. Two Angry Men, that's the one with TMZ producer Harvey Levin and Mark Garagos. Hot Mics, that's Billy Bush. Press statements on February 19th, March 19th, March 20th, TMZ, People, press statement, TMZ, Megyn Kelly, a public email, everything. I mean, when I tell you, it goes on and on and on with pictures and emails and this and that. And Gottlieb decides that he is ready to go. He's in support of Blake Lively's motion for sanctions. He says, I am an attorney admitted to practice before this court. And I respectfully submit this declaration in support of Miss Lively's motion for sanctions. I submit this declaration. Here's a true and correct copy of the list of public statements by Brian Friedman. And he goes on and on and on. But what Leanne Newton, who's our resident attorney, she says over on X, which is really interesting. And she goes, this may have been kind of like overruled. Maybe no one even saw this. But what she says she saw was that, in case anybody missed it, she says, Lively is reserving the right. Here, I'll pull this up here on so you guys can see it. She goes, Lively is reserving the right to request. And this is kind of wild, you guys. I mean, she's such a freaking annoying person. In case anybody missed it, Lively is reserving the right to request that the judge revoke Friedman's pro-hack vice admission as part of the request for sanctions against him. This would mean he would not be able to represent Wayfarer in this lawsuit anymore. She is attempting to clip Friedman's wings so he cannot defend his clients against her own public statements. It's sneakily hidden amongst the rest of the 25-page word salad, but it's there. She says, "My thoughts. Friedman pissed her off big time at the deposition, and she's lashing out as she always does." So in this wording, it says, although Miss Lively seeks only a public admonishment and an award of costs and fees at this time, Miss Lively reserves all rights to seek appropriate remedial instructions prior to trial, as well as to seek additional sanctions in the event Mr. Friedman continues to violate the order, including but not limited to revocation of Mr. Friedman's pro hac vice admission. Indeed, there is serious reason for concern as depositions and document discovery continue that Mr. Friedman will spend the next 8 months seeking to undermine or manipulate the material exchanged in discovery to litigate this case in the court of public opinion, prejudicing any future jury before the parties are able to make their respective cases in court. Mr. Friedman's plea to the people that will be the jurors that hopefully they'll be able to see that the sky is blue, contrary to Miss Lively's supposed interpretation, demonstrates his intention and willingness to do just that. Miss Lively respectfully urges the court to police these boundaries before irreparable damage is done. She is literally trying to get Brian Friedman to no longer be able to represent Wayfair. Like, in what world does this woman think that she has the ability to just do anything she wants? Blake Lively has the ability to think that she can do whatever she wants. No one else thinks that she can do this. Let me subpoena the world. Let me tell the lawyer he has to go. Let me this, let me that. It's so freaking annoying for me to watch this just as an outsider. I can't handle it. If you have nothing to hide, let the process go. If you have nothing to hide, the jury will be on your side. What is this? Okay. Now, I want to also talk about a TikTok I saw. Now, what happened in this deposition? Why did this deposition go so badly? Depositions, by the way, are never meant to go so easy for someone because you're getting deposed by your opposing attorney. It's got to be hard. It's got to be. The opposing attorney, their job is to make you fall apart, kind of. Okay? It's to make you nervous. It's to make you stressed. It's to make you anxious. It's to make you kind of like fumble. That's their job. Blake is not special. She's not different than anyone else that Brian Friedman has deposed. And I am very, very sorry for anyone to think that Blake Lively is on some sort of pedestal, that he's out there trying to abuse her. It's not the case. Brian Friedman, I have no personal need to defend Brian Friedman, but Brian Friedman has worked with the biggest of the biggest out there. He's worked with Megyn Kelly. He's worked with Sage Steele. He's worked with Bethany Frankel. He's worked with Vin Diesel recently. He's worked with all these huge people. What the hell? Blake Lively is like not his biggest person he's ever gone against. He has no need to sit there and be like, I am really gunning for her. I'm sure now he's like so over her because she's really trying to ruin and like smear his name more than anyone. But this is so out of control that she is so convinced that he is like specifically trying to attack her more than anyone else he's ever trying to depose. And here he is, he's deposing her, and she is like, he has it out for me. He's coming after me. But her deposition probably went so badly because she is, in my opinion, I think, creating a false narrative of what really went down on that movie. But what really happened in that deposition? Why is she freaking out if the transcript comes out? Why? Like, it's not coming out, but why the major panic over it? It seems a little strange. Well, I want you guys to take this with a grain of salt because this is just a little more fun, like kind of gossipy for me. But I did see this TikTok and I want to just like have fun with it for a minute. Everyone, just have fun with it for a minute. Because when I saw it, I thought to myself, oh, this not be a very interesting, um it would just be a very interesting thing. And this is based on blinds, so don't get too, upset with me. But I kind of like this, okay? I kind of like this idea, and let's talk about it.
They allegedly admitted to having feelings for Justin Baldoni in the deposition for the lawsuit. And it's apparently a very juicy story. And now Justin Baldoni is trying to get that deposition publicized. And this is not a good look for Ryan Reynolds, who is married to Blake Lively. So he is allegedly furious. And if the deposition does become public, it's over for Blake Lively. Will what the A-minus list actress said in her deposition about her feelings for her former co-star get leaked? Apparently, it is crazy juicy and not something her husband would want to read. And again, this allegedly Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni and Blake Lively's husband, Ryan Reynolds. And the related headline reads, Blake Lively's lawyers accuse Justin Baldoni of trying to force the release of her 292-page deposition transcript. Blake Lively's attorneys claim in a motion that Justin Baldoni's legal team is pushing a false narrative that she's quote unquote afraid of her deposition going public, calling it entirely untrue and deeply harmful.
So, why did I have fun with that? Okay. What could have been said in this deposition that could have had a moment in there? Is there a world? Ryan wasn't in that deposition room. It was just Blake. Blake is the only one suing. So Ryan doesn't have a right to sit in on that deposition. He's not an attorney. She doesn't get an emotional support animal during that deposition. So it's really just Blake and her attorneys opposite everyone she's suing, the world. I'm surprised we weren't in there. Is there a world where they found some evidence? Brian Friedman had some evidence, some text messages, some communication, something to prove, to say, well, look at this. Look what I found. Look what I saw. Look what I see here that shows some sort of evidence that there were maybe not crush feelings, oh my God, oh, I had feelings for you. But I had admiration for him. I had a connection to him. Is there a possibility? Yeah, I think so. I absolutely think so. I don't think that that's so out of control to think. And more than that, what I think is actually really interesting, and I'm going to let me see if I can find this email that I got from one of my dosers, Margaret. She said, this was last week, she goes, thank you for your passionate coverage of the Baldoni case. She goes, I can't even bear to say her name anymore. So she calls it the Baldoni case. She said, I just wanted to share a compelling piece of evidence that she was lying when she said that anything inappropriate happened during the birthing scene. I noticed in the call sheet that you showed that the scene was shot on May 22nd, 2023. But look at the screenshot of the text that she sent to Justin the very next day. So this is all it could have been, something along these lines. So that birthing scene that she was supposedly so uncomfortable about, all the people, it was an unsafe set and she had to see the porn and Justin was so uncomfortable and she had a stranger, a man off the street, not an actor, a Shakespearean actor, but whatever, in her face and in her vagina, all these things. The very next day on May 23rd, she got a text message. Here, let me show you. She got a text message here on May 23rd from Justin saying, I'm not going to tell you that you were amazing because you teased me for being so sentimental, but you were amazing today. And she says, thank you. I do appreciate it. I'm just a ball buster, but it means a lot to me. I care a great deal and I always want to deliver. Let me make it bigger for you guys. You were terrific. I'm proud of everything we did today, but really every day. And he loved that. And then he said, thank you. I bet she looks back at these text messages and like maybe hurts them a little bit sometimes in her, just like remembers the days. This was the day after this really, really uncomfortable birthing scene, right? So that's what I mean when these feelings, quote unquote, feelings come up. It's maybe not like, oh, Blake, did you have a crush on Justin? Did you say that you thought he was hot and you wanted to sleep with him? No, maybe not that. But is it possible that that they pulled something like this up and said, wait, you were so uncomfortable on this day, this specific day of the birth scene. You created a huge part of this complaint in the CRD complaint about the birth scene. Why on the next day are you saying, I care a great deal and I always want to deliver? You were terrific. That shows that you had feelings for him, positive, admirable, nothing but positive feelings towards him. I'm sorry, but to me, that shows positive feelings towards him. That right there blows her case. You're not in a I always go back to the position of power. The only reason that you would ever send a text like this to someone who is sexually harassing you is if they are in a position of power and you're scared about losing your job, you're scared about your safety, you're scared about getting paid, you're scared about are they going to come and abuse you again, you're scared about if they're going to hurt you, you're scared about if they're going to tell your boss, you're scared that if they're going to tell, something like that. That's the only reason you would ever respond to someone who is hurting you, who is abusing you, who is harassing you, who is doing anything to you, is anytime ever sending. That's the only reason you would ever send, like, you were terrific. I'm telling you, if a guy ever acted creepy to me, I would never send a you were terrific text to them. Ever. I would be like, thanks. I would thumbs up that text. That's what I would do. Truly, and I'm saying this as a woman who gets creepy guys talking to me quite often because that's just the name of the game with men. Sorry. Honestly, ask Zach. When Pocahontas came up to me, and I call him Pocahontas for real, we've talked about it in public before, a guy, very, very long hair. He looked like, honestly, he had hair like Ariana's boyfriend, Ariana Maddox. And he came up to me and Zach when we went out to drinks one night a few weeks ago. And he came up to me and he was totally hitting on me. And he said, "You're married, aren't you?" And I said, "Yes, I am." And he goes, "Do you ever cheat on your husband?" And I said, "No, goodbye." And he stood there and he was really trying to hook up with me. If he ever texted me the next day, which wouldn't happen because I didn't give him my number, but if he ever texted me the next day and he said, "I just want to tell you how amazing you are." And I was like, he's creeping me out because he's clearly not doing something right. And I'm a married woman. I don't want anything to do with him. I would never respond to him and say, "You were terrific." I would say, if I knew I had to see him the next day, I would thumbs up it or maybe not even respond. And then I would text my husband. I would screenshot it. I would text Lance and I'd be like, "What do I do? This is my director. What the fuck do I do about it? He's weirding me out, Lance." That's what I would do. So show me a text, as Elsie has said so many times, show me a text between her and Ryan Reynolds that says, "Babe, Justin is freaking me out. I feel weird. He made me feel really uncomfortable yesterday during the birth scene." And then he sent me this text that says, "I'm not going to tell you that you were amazing because you kill me for being so sentimental, but you were amazing today. And babe, it's making me feel really uncomfortable." That's all I would do. Because the first thing I'd want to do is show this to my husband so that my husband doesn't look at my text messages and says, "Is there something going on between you and this guy?" That's honestly the first thing I would do. I would be panicked that my husband would see this text and be like, "Are you guys hooking up?" I'm just thinking as a woman. That's what I would do. Anyway, just saying. All right. My thoughts on Blake. She sucks. She's not acting like a normal woman would in this case. I'm just being honest. During this entire experience, that is not how a woman would act by someone that is harassing them. You can do all the mental gymnastics you want, but a woman does not act this way. A woman in a position of power does not act this way. That's it. And I'm very, very interested. Globotron says, I bet Justin has text to his wife saying that Blake makes him uncomfortable. Well, we absolutely know that Justin has text with with Jamie. We've seen that Justin has emails and texts with the editors that are like, we don't know what to do. She seems to be taking over the movie. So yeah, show us your text, Blake.